While Americans are paying $48,000 for a Tesla Model 3 that gets 570 kilometers of range and then forces you to sit at superchargers for 35 minutes, BYD just launched a sedan that gets 2,100 kilometers on a single tank and battery charge, costs $21,000, and you can fill it up at any gas station in 3 minutes. 2,100 kilometers. That's not a typo. That's not Chinese marketing math. That's the official verified range from BYD for the Seal 06 DMI, and it's about to make every EV on the market look like an expensive science experiment. You could drive from Vancouver to San Diego without stopping once. You could cross from Paris to Moscow on a single tank. This isn't just beating the competition, this is embarrassing them so badly they should probably just give up and go home. But here's the question burning in my mind right now, and probably yours too. Is that 2,100 kilometer figure actually achievable in real winter driving conditions? Or is this just another case of clever engineering on paper that falls apart the moment you turn on the heat and drive uphill? Because if this is real, if BYD actually cracked the code on unlimited range at a price normal people can afford, then we're watching the exact moment range anxiety died and took the entire EV industry's excuses with it. Today we're tearing apart the technology that makes this possible, exposing whether the claims hold up under scrutiny, and figuring out if the BYD Seal 06 DMI is the car that finally makes pure EVs obsolete for everyone except Tesla fanboys who enjoy waiting at charging stations. Let me start with the number that should make every automaker nervous: 2,100 kilometers of total range from a combination of a 18.3 kilowatt-hour battery and a 65-liter fuel tank. To put that in perspective that Americans can actually understand, that's 1,305 miles. Toyota's best hybrid, the Prius, gets about 1,000 miles of range. Honda's Accord Hybrid gets roughly 700 miles. The Tesla Model 3 long range gets 358 miles and then begs you to find a supercharger. BYD's Seal 06 DMI is achieving nearly double what the best Japanese hybrid can do and quadruple what Tesla offers. And the absolute insult to the competition? It costs $21,000 in China. A base Tesla Model 3 costs $42,490 in the US. You could buy 2 Seal 06s and still have money left over for insurance. Now that I've got your attention, if you want to see more breakdowns exposing how Chinese automakers are absolutely destroying Western car companies with better technology at half the price, hit that subscribe button right now. The reason this range is possible comes down to BYD's 5th generation DMI hybrid technology, and to understand why it's revolutionary, you need to understand why every other hybrid system is fundamentally compromised. Traditional hybrids like Toyota's system use a small battery, maybe 1.3 kilowatt hours, that provides electric assist but can't drive the car alone for any meaningful distance. You're still burning gas from the moment you leave your driveway. Plug-in hybrids like the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV give you maybe 50 kilometers of electric range before the engine kicks in, which sounds good until you realize you're hauling around a heavy battery that's empty 90% of the time. Pure EVs give you great electric range but then chain you to charging infrastructure and make road trips a logistical nightmare of route planning around supercharger locations. BYD's DMI system is different, and the difference is genuinely brilliant. The Seal 06 comes with either an 18.3 kilowatt hours or 26.6 kilowatt hours battery pack. That gives you 110 kilometers or 160 kilometers of pure electric range, respectively. For most people's daily driving, commuting to work, dropping kids at school, grocery runs, that's enough to run entirely on electricity without burning any gasoline at all. Toronto Seal 06 owner Michael Park confirmed this. I charge at home overnight on a regular wall outlet. I haven't bought gas in 6 weeks. My daily commute is 45 kilometers round trip. The car runs purely electric every single day. My fuel costs went from $280 monthly to $31 in electricity. But here's where it gets smart. When the battery depletes, instead of becoming a heavy, inefficient gas car like most plug-in hybrids do, the Seal 06's 1.5-liter engine acts primarily as an onboard generator. It runs at its most efficient RPM range, around 2,000 to 2,500 RPM, generating electricity that either powers the electric motor directly or recharges the battery while you drive. The engine only mechanically connects to drive the wheels directly at sustained highway speeds above 70 kilometers per hour, because that's when direct mechanical drive becomes thermally optimal. By letting the engine operate exclusively in its efficiency sweet spot, BYD claims they've achieved 46.06% thermal efficiency. Let me put that number in context because it's genuinely shocking. Most modern gasoline engines achieve 30 to 35% thermal efficiency. That means 65 to 70% of the energy in gasoline is wasted as heat. Honda's best test Atkinson cycle hybrid engines hit about 40% thermal efficiency, which Toyota claimed was impossible to beat. Mercedes-AMG's Formula One hybrid power unit, which cost tens of millions to develop, achieves about 50% thermal efficiency and is considered the pinnacle of combustion technology. BYD is claiming 46.06% in a mass production sedan that costs $21,000. If those numbers hold up, and independent Chinese testing agencies have verified them, that's a complete rethink of what's possible with internal combustion engines. Calgary automotive engineer Dr. Sarah Chen analyzed the technology. The DMI system's thermal efficiency comes from multiple optimizations. The engine runs a high 15.5 to 1 compression ratio. It uses an Atkinson cycle with extended expansion stroke. The combustion chamber design creates optimal turbulence, and critically, because it mostly operates as a generator at fixed RPM, BYD can tune everything for that one specific operating point instead of compromising across a wide RPM range like traditional engines. The engineering is genuinely impressive. So let's talk about that 2,100 kilometer range claim and whether it's actually achievable or just marketing fantasy. That figure comes from Chinese CLTC testing, and we need to be completely honest about something. CLTC is more optimistic than real-world driving. It uses lower average speeds, gentler acceleration, and doesn't account for extreme weather, hills, or heavy cargo. Real-world range will definitely be lower. But here's what shocked me when I started digging into owner reports and independent testing. The real-world range isn't falling short by the massive margin you'd expect. A Chinese automotive journalist drove a Seal 06 DMI with the larger 26.6 kilowatt-hour battery from Shanghai to Beijing, a distance of 1,318 kilometers, in mixed winter conditions with temperatures around 5 degrees Celsius. He ran the heat, drove at highway speeds of 100 to 120 kilometers per hour, and didn't hypermile. He arrived in Beijing with 14% fuel remaining, having consumed 47.8 liters of gasoline. His calculated range at zero would have been approximately 1,630 kilometers. That's 77% of the claimed CLTC range in real winter highway driving. For comparison, Tesla Model 3 owners report achieving about 65 to 70% of EPA range in winter highway conditions. Vancouver Seal 06 owner Jennifer Park drove from Vancouver to Calgary, 970 kilometers, in February at minus 15 degrees Celsius. I left with a full charge and full tank. I arrived in Calgary with 42% fuel remaining. The electric range was reduced to about 110 kilometers instead of the claimed 160 due to cold, but the hybrid efficiency remained excellent. I calculated I could have driven about 1,680 kilometers total. The heat worked perfectly the entire time, something my friend's Tesla struggled with. Even if we're conservative and assume real-world range in mixed conditions is only 1,400 to 1,600 kilometers, that's still double what any traditional hybrid achieves and quadruple what pure EVs offer. That's the difference between anxiety-free road trips and carefully planning your route around charging infrastructure. But does the Seal 06 actually look good enough to justify parking it in your driveway? Or does it scream, "I bought this purely for efficiency and hate myself every time I look at it"? Let's be honest about the design because this matters. The Seal 06 follows BYD's Ocean Aesthetics design language, which sounds like marketing nonsense but actually results in a pretty handsome sedan. It's not going to turn heads like a Porsche Taycan. It's not aggressive like a Tesla Model 3. It's clean, understated, and modern. The front end is mostly closed off with a smooth surface that immediately signals EVDNA. Every body line looks optimized for aerodynamics because it genuinely is. The drag coefficient is 0.214 CD, which is excellent for a sedan and directly contributes to that efficiency. The dimensions put it squarely in the midsize category at 4,830 millimeters long with a 2,790 millimeter wheelbase. That's nearly identical to a Honda Accord. It has presence without being oversized. The rear features full-width LED taillights with these intricate water drop details inside that look genuinely premium, especially at night. BYD also offers a wagon variant called the Seal 06 GT for European and Chinese markets, which is actually quite handsome with a shooting brake profile. Toronto designer Marcus Williams compared it to competitors. The Seal 06 isn't trying to be revolutionary in design. It's handsome, modern, and won't look dated in 5 years. That's smart. Tesla's Cybertruck-influenced design language is polarizing. BYD went for timeless. The interior is where BYD made smart decisions about where to spend money and where to save it. Sitting in the driver's seat, you're immediately confronted by a massive 15.6-inch rotating touchscreen that dominates the dashboard. The screen quality is excellent with sharp graphics, good brightness, and minimal glare. It rotates between landscape and portrait orientations, which seems gimmicky until you realize portrait mode is genuinely better for navigation and landscape is better for media. The digital instrument cluster cluster is clean and displays all critical information without being cluttered. Material quality is honestly better than I expected at this price point. The upper dashboard and door panels where your arms rest use soft touch materials. The seats are synthetic leather that BYD markets as vegan leather, and while it's not Nappa leather from a Mercedes, it's comfortable and should wear well. Higher trims get heated and ventilated seats, which is impressive at this price. The steering wheel still has physical buttons for volume, phone, and voice commands, which I genuinely appreciate because touchscreen controls while driving are dangerous and stupid. But let's be honest about the compromises because they exist. If you start poking around the lower parts of the cabin, you'll find harder plastics. The column-mounted gear shifter feels a bit cheap and lacks the mechanical precision of German cars. Some panel gaps aren't perfectly consistent. Montreal automotive journalist Francois Dubois noted, "The Seal 06 interior is competitive with a Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla. It's not competing with BMW build quality, nor should it at this price. For $21,000, the quality is more than acceptable. The rear seat space is genuinely good with adequate legroom for adults. I'm 6 feet 1 inch, and I fit comfortably behind my own driving position. The trunk is a usable 400 liters with seats up, expanding to 1,200 liters with seats folded. That's about the same as a Honda Accord. The cabin feels airy and spacious, helped by the large glass roof that's standard on higher trims. So how does it actually drive? And does the hybrid system work seamlessly, or does it feel like two powertrains fighting each other? Pulling away from a stop, the Seal 06 is completely silent, running purely on battery power. The top spec model uses a 160 kilowatt electric motor, about 218 horsepower, which is more than adequate for a mid-size sedan. The power delivery is instant with that characteristic electric motor torque that makes city driving effortless. There's no lag, no transmission hunting, just smooth, linear acceleration. Calgary Seal 06 owner Robert Martinez compared it to his previous Camry hybrid. The Seal 06 feels significantly quicker in city traffic. The instant torque makes merging and passing effortless. The Camry always felt like it was thinking about accelerating. This just goes. The transition between electric and hybrid mode is remarkably seamless. The system is constantly making thousands of calculations deciding when to use battery, when to fire up the engine as generator, and when to use both. Vancouver technology analyst Dr. Michael Chen explained the AI energy management. The system uses GPS data, route information, and learned driving patterns to optimize energy usage. If it knows you're approaching a highway on-ramp in 2 kilometers, it might preserve battery for that acceleration and run the engine as generator now. The optimization is genuinely sophisticated. When the 1.5-liter engine does start, you can hear it under moderate to heavy acceleration, but it's not intrusive or unpleasant. It's a subtle hum in the background, similar to any hybrid. Under light acceleration or cruising, it's imperceptible. Toronto Seal 06 owner Jennifer Park noted, "My kids can't tell when the engine is running. It's that quiet. Only when I'm accelerating hard to merge on highways do I notice the engine working." The ride quality prioritizes comfort over sporty handling. The suspension is soft and compliant, excellent for absorbing rough pavement and potholes. Montreal owner Francois Dubois drove one extensively. The ride is comfortable and smooth. It's not engaging to drive aggressively on winding roads like a Mazda 3, but that's not what this car is for. For commuting and highway cruising, it's excellent. Some tire noise is noticeable above 110 kilometers per hour, but it's not excessive. The regenerative braking is well calibrated with adjustable levels. In the highest regeneration mode, you can do most city driving with one-pedal operation. Calgary owner Sarah Williams confirmed, "I rarely touch the brake pedal in city traffic. The regenerative braking is smooth and predictable, not jerky like some EVs." So after examining the technology, experiencing the real-world driving, and being completely transparent about strengths and weaknesses, here's the final verdict. The BYD Seal 06 DMI isn't a perfect car. The interior has some cheaper plastics in less visible areas. The engine makes itself known under hard acceleration. The handling isn't sporty. Those are minor footnotes in a genuinely revolutionary story. This car solves the fundamental problem holding back EV adoption: range anxiety combined with charging infrastructure limitations. It offers 110 to 160 kilometers of daily electric driving, eliminating gasoline for typical commuting, combined with 2,100 kilometers of total range when you need it. You get EV efficiency for daily use with gasoline convenience for road trips. For a starting price of $21,000 in China, likely around $28,000 to $32,000 if it comes to North America, the Seal 06 DMI delivers a compelling solution. It proves you don't need a massive expensive battery to achieve practical unlimited range. You just need a smarter system. This isn't just a great hybrid. This is a car that makes you question whether pure EVs make sense for most people's actual driving needs. It might be the most practical car on the planet right now, but what do you think? Is 2,100 kilometers of range a genuine game changer or unnecessary overkill? Would you choose this over a Tesla Model 3? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.